Hello and welcome to this episode of Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with actress, producer, and director, CEO of Outlook Productions, Deanna Rashell. Hi, Deanna. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome. So, can you share a little bit more about who you are and what it is you do in the Atlanta film and TV community?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Deanna Rashell, and I run a production company, and I'm an actress. My primary passion is acting. So I have actually acting in as well as directing or producing and writing. I write a lot of my own content. My biggest project to date is called Soul Wars. It's a 55-minute science fiction pilot, and I was hired to direct and produce that one. And I starred in that one. So that one should be coming out soon. The video is actually done. We're just doing some audio. I want the audio to be as good as possible. So I'm putting it out to a second guy, let him fix up the audio for our series. And that's a lot of fun. I love that web series. It have 7 episodes out. We just shot an eighth episode, and those are all done in Atlanta. And I play Granny, and I play a bunch of other characters. And then in some of the episodes, I bring other actors in. This last episode was kind of like a little bit of Granny, but more of other people. So she kind of pops in and out of different short films. And I have other web series and shorts that I shot here in Atlanta, also in New Orleans. I started acting in New Orleans, and then I moved to Atlanta a few years ago, just still getting to know people, getting to know the film industry. I really like finding other people who like actors who can actually have other skills like camera, sound, editing. That is like kind of what I'm working on right now, because I have a lot of skills. I edit, I can shoot. I don't really want to shoot, but I can. I do lighting, I can do set deck, I write. But like finding other people that do the same thing, then we can create like a lot of content and get it out there. Because when you're like a one woman show, things take a lot longer. So yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. I also used to work on the auto show circuit as a speaker. I've done a lot of trade shows and sales, and I do marketing for a company right now. My side job is like marketing. I do social media marketing. I create like flyers, websites, just do a lot of like posts and things on social media for a construction company.
You just gave me another question, but I'll
Oh,
ask you later. Um,
sure.
so thanks.
Yeah.
So can you take us on you touched on it a little bit. So can you take us on your journey from how you started to where you are now?
Sure. So it's a bit of a long journey, but I'm going to try to make it short.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you my age, but I did start very late in life, like way later than most people. And I always wanted to act, but I was really shy. And then I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I answered a Craigslist ad back in the day. And I had like a photo with a bathing suit top cut off. It was professional photo, but it was not an actor's headshot by any means. And I got the audition, and I went out and auditioned, had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I'm just gonna try this out. And I booked the role, and then we filmed it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I like this.
Oh,
And so I started doing it from then. And then I had, it's been a wild ride, honestly. I mean, so many failures, so many no's, so much rejection, but I really don't pay attention to that. So like I do my audition, I just forget about it. Honestly, I just forget about it. And it's way easier with tapes.
mm,
When we're doing live auditions, it takes maybe a few hours, maybe a day to forget about it if you didn't do so great, or if you didn't book the parts. But so yeah, so I ended up starting doing, I did a lot of free stuff, and then I started getting paid work and booked some feature films, booked some short films. I booked a couple like non-union network TV stuff. I moved to LA, so I was living in LA, training out there, flying back and forth between New Orleans and LA, working out there, working in New Orleans. and I had to get myself off the auto show circuit because they were traveling me all over the country, and it
Wow.
was great. I was getting all this experience speaking in front of people, speaking to large crowds, and I was like, this is what I need for as an actress and as a host. I was like, I'm getting experience, but I was passing up callbacks. I was missing auditions because this is in the day when things were live.
Mhm.
So I was like, I gotta stop. And then I booked NCIS New Orleans, a guest star role on that, which was
Wow.
awesome. And before that, I booked a part in a film called Elsa and Fred. And
Mhm.
I played Scott Bakula's wife and Shirley MacLaine's daughter-in-law. And there's a bunch of stars in that movie. It's a great movie. It's actually a very good family movie. It's got a beautiful story. It was shot in New Orleans, but it hasn't really gone very far. It's one of those like mysteries. All these stars, they must have spent a fortune on that thing, and a lot of people don't even know what it is. So then kept creating my own content, booking more roles. This last 2 years, I booked a co-lead in a SAG feature film in California. I didn't even have to audition for that one. It was so awesome. Oh my God. I love direct bookings. It was
Yes.
great. It was just like, it's just like such a relief as an actor. Like, oh, you just want to hire me? Yes. So I did a good job though. I went fully prepared. I was like ready to go, and we filmed that. That's been released, and then I booked another like a strong supporting lead in a feature film in North Carolina, and I did audition for that one, and they filmed that. They're in post production now, and I just won another Best Actress at the
Mhm.
48-hour film project in Atlanta.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we were nominated, I think, 4 categories, and we won in two. We won Audience Choice Award, and I directed that one. I wrote that one, and we had an awesome team of people. So it was a lot of fun. And then I won Best Actress. So that was really cool. I was super excited about that.
Wow, you have an amazing journey. So
Thanks.
this leads me to my next question. I know you said you started late, and I'm gonna have to ask you what your age is after this interview. But so were you ever like into the arts growing up? And if so, like, did your parents recognize that? And if they did, what did they do to facilitate growth?
For me, I mean, my mom and dad were divorced when I was very young, so it was really my mom and my stepdad. My mom, I mean, she loved me. She gave me all the basic needs I needed, but as far as like really like paying attention to like my goals and stuff, that she was too focused on her own life and doing her own thing. So I tried to do modeling, took pictures, sent them into the magazines. Nothing ever happened. I didn't know what I was doing. And I did like performing arts in school. I was a cheerleader, like was on a dance squad, so that was kind of performing, and I always knew I liked that. I really liked getting out there with the music, and I liked practicing with the team and doing the dances. But I didn't do any acting because in my school, I was trying to be a cool kid, and those were the nerdy kids. And then later, I was like, God, I wish I would have been a nerdy kid, man. They were so much smarter. They were ahead of the game. You're trying to be the cool kid, you're totally behind the game.
Mhm.
So, and I played soccer. I was on the swim team, so I really wasn't. I was really like a tomboy to like 15. I had motorcycle, dirt bikes. I grew up with brothers.
Wow.
I didn't, my mom didn't teach me how to curl my hair, put makeup on. It took me a while to figure out like how to look like a girl.
Right. Yeah.
So
But
it
you
was
but
a
you
little
do a
bit
good
different.
job.
Thank you. Thank you. Lots of YouTube videos, lots of TikTok videos. Like, nowadays it's so easy to learn how to do stuff.
Right.
So so
So
yeah, so late I did start late, and I would say no, I didn't really have that. I think that's key. I really think like for young kids, if the parents like really, if the kids are like, hey, I really want to act or I want to model or whatever it is they want to do, it's really up to the parents at that point because kids get distracted into all kinds of different things, and you don't have a car, you can't get anywhere. The parents kind of have to like really organize that.
right, you are so right with that. And then you kinda have to let the kid, you know, let you know if this something that they want to do, and if they don't wanna do it, just, "Okay, we're moving on to the next thing." So you're
Right.
absolutely right. So we
I
are
do think sorry, I'm going to add one thing. I do think, and this isn't anything about me, but for kids, I think it's great for them to go to like improv training and some basic acting training, even if they never want to be an actor, because I know my skills help me. I can go do so many things now because I have camera skills and acting skills. And I
Mhm.
just think it would help them in life, if they go to an interview, they're not going to be nervous. They're used to being on camera, being in a room full of people
Right.
judging them. So,
Yeah, it gives you a lot of I actually wrote a blog a while ago about like the other skills you can get from taking acting classes, being able
right.
to speak publicly, gaining confidence, and there were several other things, but you're right about that.
Right, right. Great. I'd like to see your blog.
Sure.
Mhm.
So we are going to take a break, but we'll
Okay.
be right back.
Damn, dude, you really didn't tell anyone you were leaving LA.
I know, man. Man, I was really just going through a lot those last few months.
No, I feel you. LA's a tough city.
It's no joke. You go out there with such high hopes and dreams, and then,
Reality hits.
right. Honestly, man, I just want to start new. Like a clean slate. Forget about all that drama in the past, you know?
Yo, you still there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
So, starting new. Yeah, what does that mean?
I think it's time to chase my dreams.
Welcome back to Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with actress, producer, director, and CEO of Outlook Productions, Deanna Rashell. So, when you introduced yourself, you talked about how you do multiple things in the industry. Can you share about the importance of being multifaceted and wearing many hats in the film and TV industry?
Yeah, I think, I mean, sometimes actors go straight to the top, right? I think it's a super small percentage, maybe less than 1%. And then I think if you're getting started younger, maybe you don't need to worry about trying to create your own content. But I think, it's really good for an actor because it keeps you going, it keeps your morale up, keeps you creating. So if you're an actor and you're like, well, I got like 10 auditions but I didn't book anything, and then I'm really not doing anything between my auditions, if you start creating a little web series, even if they're 3 minutes each, you're acting, you're creating, you're also looking at both sides of the camera, so you get an idea of what casting goes through, what the director's looking at, how what the set design is, what the lighting is. And then when you get on set, and of course, the cameras and the equipment's much larger when you get on a professional set. So you got to like not have shock when you see these massive cameras because you're used to shooting with a DSLR camera. You actually are way more. You're a better actor because you understand what's going on around you, and you understand the importance of following the direction of the director or the camera or where your lighting is. So I think it helps you a lot. And I really think it helps your morale, though. It keeps you going and it makes you feel like you're at cause, because a lot of times as actors, we feel the effect. Well, casting hasn't called me. Well, my agent's not getting me an audition. Well, I didn't book. It's like, well, there's lots of factors that go into booking. I mean, you might have been the best actor, but you just didn't look the part.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a lot of times you could be in the top three that they chose, and they chose somebody who looks completely different than you, or who's younger, or who's older, who's fatter, who's skinnier. It's like so many factors go into that.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So you did some work in LA. What would you
Mhm.
say the difference between doing film work here and doing film work in LA?
The set being on the sets is pretty much the same, except for I would say the crews are a little more, it's easier to find people because there's so many people out there. So they're passionate, they're motivated, they see the bigger picture, I think, because there's more studios. Now Atlanta has a good amount of studios, but in
Mhm.
LA they towards being that level of expertise, where a lot of times you go to these short films or even independent films here or even Louisiana, and they're like, yeah, whatever, we'll just, that sounds okay, the lighting's okay, we're not going to be worried about it. But in LA, I felt like the game was higher. And then as an actor, I don't, I mean, there are great talent out there, but there's a lot of talent. So a lot of things are live. You go out for your live audition and you sit in a room, with lots of people, and you just have to get used to that whole setting of being in competition with lots of people who look like you.
Mhm.
And then there's like the intimidation game. I like the South better, honestly. I think the people in the South are better. I think our culture is better. We're just more communicative. In LA, I didn't really fit in because I say hi to people. When I walk down the street, if it's a stranger and me walk by each other, I say hi. I don't care who you are, even unless you're like, if you look like you're gonna shoot me or something, I might say hi just so you don't shoot me. But I'm gonna say hi, right? In LA, they look at you funny. They're like, what? And they look like, what do you want from me? I'm like, I'm from New Orleans. We say hi to each other. Like, we don't care who you are. We just say
Right.
hi to, you're a human being walking down the street. So in LA, there's some pretentiousness. If you can spot that and keep that out of your area, then it's actually a lot of fun there because there's a lot of content. They have a lot of red carpet events. They have a lot of networking events. So that's what I really miss. They have a lot of classes within 10-minute driving. So
Mm,
you can hit
wow.
up classes, you can meet casting directors. There's definitely a lot more opportunities for sure.
Mhm.
But we're good here too. I mean, I'm still here, so I like the South. I like having trees and like property, and like in LA you have to live in a tiny little box, and
Mhm.
you know not really conducive to, especially if like you have 3 children, so that's like, whoa, that would be hard.
Yes. So, you relocated here. So, do you have any relocation tips for people looking to relocate to Atlanta?
I did pre-pandemic, but now I'm not exactly sure because I was gonna say move somewhere like Decatur, Sandy Springs. I prefer to be north of the perimeter just because I feel it's more peaceful, a little more small townish. I don't really like to live in the city. That's just me. Because
Mhm.
I like more space. But if you like to live in the city, go live in the city. I mean, a lot of things happen down in Midtown. So I have to drive there. I have the extra drive. And I like going down there. I love visiting it down there. But yeah, I would just say now as an actor, almost everything's taped. So it doesn't really matter. Just be
Right.
willing to drive, go to events, go to networking events. Whenever you find one, go, because you'll meet people, and that's how you're gonna make connections in the industry, is by showing up and like shaking hands with people, saying hi, get business cards, be professional. You have your website, and just, talk to people.
Right. We live in Decatur, so I know you said that was the one.
It is perfect.
Yes, we live right near downtown Decatur. So, what inspired you to create your first film after attending an artists convention?
Well, I wanted to get into SAG. So this was back before SAG kind of got wise to people like me. I was like, well, I found a book. It was at a store, French, whatever that store is in LA, French something. It's like the popular store. I think they're out of business now, but all the actors used to go there to get sides and training books and everything, and manual French. And it was a book called like How to Get It cover to cover. I was like, oh, I wrote a script called New Orleans Pie. It was a college comedy. Well, these older women go back to college. So the whole comedy is them trying to go back to college and all this shit goes wrong. And it was actually a really fun web series. And I made that SAG and I Taft Hartley myself in. I
Wow.
Taft Hartley a bunch of people in. And then SAG kind of got wise to that. They didn't like it being so easy. So they made it harder. You didn't have to have insurance back then. You didn't have to show anything. There was just like, you could just be, as long as you got approved under new media, you could Taft Hartley people into the union. So that really was the purpose. And then everybody had so much fun. They're like, Deanna, you have to make another one. I wasn't going to make another one. I'm done. I hit my goal. I'm good. And then they're like, no, we have to do another one. You do part 2, part 3. I was like, okay. So then we just did it, and I had I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know about storyboards. I didn't know about camera shot. I knew nothing. I just knew how to be an actor, and I could write. I had good ideas, and I had a big house we could shoot in. So I had a friend who I met on another set that I booked on this TV pilot in New Orleans, and I just emailed him. I'm like, hey, Paul, you want to come shoot this? And he showed up with all his equipment. He had storyboards done. He had it all planned out. I was like, oh, great. He knows what he's doing.
Wow.
Yeah, you just stumble, when you're
Mhm.
first starting, and then you keep going because there's going to be sound problems. Usually your audio is bad when you first get started, and then usually you don't get enough coverage because you don't understand coverage yet. But once you start learning, you get better and better and better, and you get more technically correct.
Right. Yeah. So, was this your first 48-hour film festival that you participated in?
This was, well, I think my 5th as a producer director
Mhm.
and my 7th as an actor. I started just acting in them in New Orleans. I went to a meetup group, met filmmakers like, hey, you want to be in my 48? I was like, okay, cool. Did like a little part. We won some awards. And the next year, like, hey, we want you back. And then that year, I think was the year I got nominated for Best Actress. I didn't even go to the awards. I was like, yeah, whatever, cool. I didn't know anything about it. I was like, we'll just do it. I didn't know how big the 48 was. And then they asked me back again. And I was like, wait a minute. You know what? They had me as the lead actor. And that spawned a web series called Government Lies. It's not about politics like it is today, but back then it was just kills a guy, and it turns out the government was in on it, and it's kind of interesting. But it was so low budget looking. We didn't win any awards because I didn't really know what I was. I was just producing, and we had a new director, and it was cute though. It was fun, and then the series got better and better. And now the series looks pretty good. So
Okay, that's great. Well, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of part 2 of my question. So, would you recommend aspiring filmmakers to participate in the 48-hour film festival?
yes, so the 48-hour film festival, and so you've got all levels. You got people that are actually professional filmmakers, and they go because it's a challenge. And at the end of 48 hours, you have a film, and then you can go back and fix it up even more because you can't get it super perfect in 48 hours.
Mhm.
But as a new filmmaker, it's a great opportunity because you're not allowed to pay anybody. You can make it SAG. You don't have to have insurance if you don't want to. Just feed people, and you have to pay your entry fee. So, and you get to have your film screened on a huge screen, like in a real theater, and a little red carpet action. And it's fun. You get to meet a lot of people, you meet other filmmakers. I highly recommend it. I try to, it's a lot of work though.
We were gonna do
You're
it.
gonna be tired, like,
Yeah, we were
I
gonna
said you're gonna be tired. If you're the producer and like you're seeing the project all the way to the end, you're gonna be tired.
yeah.
Go
We were
ahead.
gonna do it one year and I just don't know what happened with that, but I didn't.
Yeah, I recommend it. You'll have fun. I mean, it's fun. It's fun because you're all constantly under pressure, and it's good. And at the end, like I said, you have a film. And
Right.
you didn't have to pay a lot of money for it. You might come out of pocket maybe $300 max with food and your entry fee. If you feed people like have crafty and have some pizzas and like some decent pizzas, 350 maybe. So I don't know where else you can make a film in 48 hours and spend like $350.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. I'm like, well, we're gonna have a film at the end. And
Right.
now every year I go, we're gonna have a better film at the end. Like we won Audience Choice Award. So, and the guy said, your film was like, it was everybody was voting for our film.
Wow.
So, and it wasn't even technically perfected. It's not even done yet. We're finishing up the edit. We had some audio issues, we had some music issues, but the film was really cute. It was a fun film.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Congratulations on
thanks.
getting Best Actress. That's
Thank
that's
you.
that's really dope. So we
Yeah.
we are going to take a break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today we are having a conversation with Deanna Rashell. Can you share about your production company, Outlook Productions?
Sure. So I do a few different things in my production company. I've done a lot of business videos. Like I've actually hosted for business videos, and then I edit them or I write them, and then I do short films. And most recently, we did a 55-minute science fiction pilot through my company. And we basically will do everything. We'll get the crew, we'll get the editing. We take it from start to finish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what inspires you to create?
I come up with story ideas like in my world, when I'm just like I'm like, ooh, that would make a good film. Ooh, that would make it. I have to write it down because if you don't, you forget, and it's just kind of like trying to usually I do things that make people laugh. I like to make people laugh. I want to take people out of their life because life can be very stressful. So I want to take people out of their life and send them into another world for even if it's 5 minutes. That's usually what I want to do. I haven't done dramas in a while, honestly. I did dramas before. I feel like I need more money for dramas because dramas, everybody's not having as much fun on set. And so we need more crew to cover those spaces. But in the comedy, everybody's just like high energy, they're having fun and they're working harder, if that makes sense. So comedies are a little bit easier to shoot and you don't have to have as much technical correctness. Like you don't have a lot of action shots. If you have action shots, you really need a focus puller, so you have a specialized position to fill. But if you're comedy, if your DP can do some basic focus pulling, you can get away with not having a focus puller, which makes things move faster, and cheaper. So
Right.
yeah, so I enjoy creating. I like putting out content. I like challenging myself, and I like to write characters for myself or scenes for myself that I think will be fun to play.
Like the granny
Really?
like the
Yeah,
granny
the granny
character.
character.
I
Oh,
want to
she's
see
a
that.
blast. I do her right now, and then I don't look like her, but right now, but yeah, I have the wig. It's kind of like Carol Burnett, I guess. And I think there was an old show in the 70s, the Beverly Hillbillies, and they had that
Mhm.
granny on there. I
Yeah.
don't, my character, I don't have that wig. My wig is more like Carol Burnett with a curly, tight, gray hair. So limits, I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want, and I don't have to be careful. And I really like that.
So, if I were to meet 18-year-old Deanna and told her about all the wonderful things she will become, what would you least likely to believe to be true?
Um, back if you would have told me that I was so when I was 18, I partied a lot. Like I was a big old partier. Yeah. So I don't do that anymore. And I drink a little bit here and there, but I don't use any drugs or anything like that. So I probably wouldn't have believed you. You're like, you're not. I used to smoke a lot of weed. Let's put it that way. So if you would have told me that at 18, I'd be like, no, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. But the success part, I would have believed it because I was trying to find my way and I did believe in myself. But I don't know if you would have told me that I was speaking out pretty nervous and a little bit shy.
You were speaking on what? Because
Like I'm speaking on stage now. I've spoke on stage. I've traveled with the auto show circuit. I've spoke it for just different things. I've done public speaking. So, and then acting, you're performing in front of a bunch of people and I don't have any problem with it. I don't get nervous. I don't even think about it. I just do it. Except for auditions. Auditions different because you're trying out for something. It's not like when you got the job, you got the job. So
right.
it's just way more chill.
Yeah,
So yeah, I wasn't doing that back then when I was 18.
right. So I asked that again because you had frozen up a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, this is good. Let me ask her who spoke on what." So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, what is a piece of advice you would have for a high school graduate looking to pursue a career in film and TV?
Okay, so my advice is if you're looking to pursue a film or a career in film and TV is to start your theater programs at your school first. If you already graduated, you can't do that. But if you're in high school or junior high, just get into your theater classes. And if you have a teacher who is very critical or makes you feel bad or makes you feel like not good in any way, get out of that class. You don't need it. It's not going to do you any favors. It's actually going to hurt you unless you're really good at ignoring that and totally disagreeing with all the critiques. Then you could stay in that class or in that, in that theater program. If you don't have a good program, just ask your parents to find a good program somewhere where you can be in a theater and get real experience.
That was a great answer. So, do you have any gems you would like to share um, with the Atlanta film and TV community?
Um, because I work on both sides. So from an acting standpoint, just don't give up. Just don't quit. If you really want it, just try to get better and better and try not to be too hard on yourself because it's art. So, there's always going to be room for improvement. But my biggest piece of advice for an actor is don't try to do what you think they want you to do. Because that what they thought of it. One casting director loved it, the other one hated it. One thought it was okay. I'm like, you can't listen to the casting. The cast director is going to give you their opinion, but that's just one opinion. What if the director has a completely different opinion and you just try to manipulate your art to fit that casting director or that teacher's way they thought it should be done and the director thought, well, that's stupid, I like it this way. So you should just learn how to read a script or part of a script, understand it, get all the basic nuances, and then do the performance that you want to do, that you feel is right, that you feel is true, because that at the end of the day, that's really what they're looking for. You're going to make that material. So that's really that's why I talk about the critiques, the teachers who are constantly criticizing. I don't find that helpful. Some actors like it. I don't. I won't go back to a class. I've actually left in the middle of a class, already paid. I'm like, I don't need this. I get enough rejection as it is. I don't need it unless you want an Academy Award. Then I really don't want that much of your opinion. That's kind of how
Right.
I look
Yeah.
at it.
Yes.
But I mean, if you want a lot of awards, I'll sit there and take it because I'm like, this guy or girl knows what they're doing. Other than that, I would rather find somebody who can train you with encouragement. That was a great way. Now try it this way. Oh, let's try it this way. Let's try it this way, instead of, oh, I didn't believe that, you weren't angry enough, or I didn't buy that emotion, or you just don't need any of that. You don't need to put yourself through that. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, that's a really good gem. So how can people connect with you?
The best thing to do is just go to my website, which is deannarashell.com. And on my website, you'll have links to all my social media. And I don't do a lot of messages on social media. I get them, but it's just too much. Like, I've got 2 Facebooks, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So, comment, send me an email directly. That's the best way. If you really have a question or something, that's the best way. And you can do a contact form on the website, or comment on my post. I always respond to my comments. So I try to stay in touch with people. I try to do social media a lot, meaning I like to go to other people's pages and show support for other artists. So I really will. Sometimes I'll just scroll down Facebook and find art. I'm like, oh, good job. Loved your reel. Like, just try to like give back to each other because we need it. I just
Right.
need it.
Right.
So
Well, thank you for answering a few questions for us.
yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad I found you. And like I said, your name, so one thing I like to do as a producer, as a filmmaker, is I like to put a lot of women in my films. So, this last pilot, I didn't have like full reign over, but I added 2 female roles and I gave them lines. They weren't even in the story. I'm like, we got to put these girls in. They were on my crew. I'm like, let's get them in. They're also actors. And one of them was, we named her Mondisa. So not MAN, but it's MON. And I don't even know where I came up with the name. I just really love the name. I was like, Mandisa. Sounds so like mysterious,
Well,
So
Mandisa is South African.
okay. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us. And if you or anyone you know is an Atlanta mover and shaker in the Atlanta film and TV community, be sure to go to our website at atlantafilmandtv.com and fill out our potential mover and shaker application. Thanks for joining us.
Bye guys.